Guys, welcome back to another episode of A2 The Show. Today we have Mounia Akl, a fantastic Lebanese director, by the way. Um, so Mounia has earned her MFA from Columbia University in New York after studying architecture in Alba, Beirut, a member of the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences. Her debut feature, Costa Brava, Lebanon, inspired by her short Submarine, which also showed in Cannes, premiered at the 2021 Venice Film Festival, TIFF, and BFI Lebanon, winning the Audience Award. It was released in the US, and later on Netflix. She developed the script through the Sundance Labs, Cannes Cine Foundation Residency, and Torino Film Lab. Her second feature film, Hold Me If You Want, is in development, and also in TV, she's directed episodes of The Responders, starring Martin Freeman, Boiling Point, starring Stephen Graham, created by adolescence film Phil Barantini, and also House of Guinness, which is currently on Netflix. Um, so, Munia, thank you for coming onto the podcast. It's great to have you.
For having me.
Please tell us, how did you even start this journey from architecture into directing? Like, what's the transition? Where did it click?
Um, I, it clicked at a very young age. I think that I always found myself telling stories through images, even when I was a kid, and we had to think of what would be the birthday gift of our friends. I used to always make films, think in images, and just watch a lot of films at home. That was one of our main activities at home. And
Mhm.
but it never felt like something that you could do really in Lebanon because of the lack of film industry, of film funding. So it felt like, oh, that's the dream plan. Probably never, we'll never do that. What's the second best thing? Architecture was that because it's what I knew, because my parents are architects and I had grown up seeing them um, do that, and I don't know, I was inspired by it, but also it was a way to run away from the courage of doing what I really wanted to do. And when I was in architecture school, what got confirmed to me was that I loved architecture, but I didn't want to be an architect. And I used to run away from my classes and go into film classes and just try to steal any knowledge I could. And then I
Mhm.
met Hilaris, who you've interviewed already on this
Mm-hmm.
podcast.
Yeah.
We were both taking acting classes as a like hobby outside of school, and him and I gave each other the courage to just try to play with the form, the film form. We took a VHS camera, started making silly films together, and learned filmmaking through each other and through reading and watching. And a short film that we did ended up being a real like business card for us as film directors, because it it showed people our work that was quite raw and naive, and just two kids trying to learn, and that became the beginning of everything.
Mhm.
So my escapes from architecture school led to me learning filmmaking on my own, and led to me making things, and that started in a way the path to my filmmaking career.
Okay.
Wow.
Something that I want to go a bit deeper on this point. So you found your purpose through, like, obviously trying out something that you liked, but and you said that you liked architecture, but you didn't see yourself as an architect. So, if for someone who's like maybe trying to know what they want to do, like, what questions should they ask themselves so that they know, like, okay, maybe this is not for me, and if what did
Yeah.
you ask yourself so that you figured out not architecture?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because you're in I remember being in school when I was 17, and like feeling like the fact that I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker was a thing. I was like, well, if you want something that bad, you probably won't do it, because it seems too. Because I remember so many of us were so confused as to what we want to do, and asking someone at the age of 17 to make a decision about their whole life was so
It's
scary.
insane, yeah.
I find there are great parallels between choosing a person to share your love life with and choosing a career, because in the end it's trying, it's giving a chance to something, it's playing with it, it's like exploring it, that makes you know if you really want that or not. And I think for me, doing studying architecture confirmed to me that it was not what made me want to wake up in the morning, that I couldn't imagine myself exploring my full potential in that field, because I could see that I was doing it to get good grades and to just be a good student. But what I really, really felt passionate about was film. And I was told by a lot of people in my life that having a passion is so rare. So if you do, you need to listen to that. Cyril was one of these people. He was a consultant at Booz, and I was in architecture school. Without going out there making a shitty film and then someone noticing it, us, being commissioned to do a TV show, like one thing led to another, that confirmed to me I wanted to do that. But I didn't go and study film. I actually made them, and then confirmed my passion was real, had a bit of things in my bio. And then when I went to New York to study film, I applied with all of the things I had done in Lebanon as a side thing. So I think it's about accepting that in life you can't have all the answers right away. And so many people I met in film school, when I was, I don't know, I moved there when I was 23. Many of these people had done something else before, and in a way they had come to film school to do a master's in film after having done something else that, one, confirmed to them they wanted to study film, two, gave their brain something that made them more rich. I think that my architecture years made my filmmaking a bit more specific. And the people around me, like there was someone that had studied history, someone that had studied philosophy, psychology, all these people, their background had made their filmmaking style very specific to where they came from. And yeah, I guess my advice to my younger self would be to just trust the process and not be frustrated, and just try things, and see where your gut takes you. But I think the gut doesn't work on its own. It needs to work with experience,
Hmm. Fair.
Yes.
Yeah.
at least
And
for me.
I would love to say that your younger self would be so proud of where you are today, breaking through all these walls, making movies, TV, doing the impossible, fighting against all odds, and inspiring other people to do it too. You know, you followed your dream, you took the blind leap of faith, and it's paid off, and you've made a masterpiece. Costa Brava. We have it right here. Means to say I love
Oh,
this movie. There goes my
that's
sabah.
so nice.
Yes,
Oh,
and
that's nice.
what can we say about this movie? It's like so touching and relatable, but also so new and different. I've never seen a Lebanese movie talk about something that's so real to all of us, whether you're rich or poor or whatever your background is the environment and our health and our future and what we want to do with it. And um it's something that gets so sidelined and forgotten about because there's so much we're worried about and struggling about, but we don't really think about what are we doing to our planet, what are we doing to our ecosystem, and the trash that's everywhere. What's that going to do to our lives? um so amazing, spectacular movie, real thought-provoking and so fun. And yeah, how inspiring. What a great way to start 2026, right, with a very motivational, inspiring story. Because we saw your documentary too about or Cyril's documentary about
Yeah,
this film. And oh my god, the all the literally every single thing that could go wrong did go wrong. And you already know how hard it is to make a movie in Lebanon, and so
yeah,
you fought like a warrior. Tell us a bit
yeah.
about that.
Yeah, I mean, well, thank you for saying this about Costa Brava. It's like a first feature is something that um, is is so scary, because you're like, okay, it's the first time I'm putting a movie out in the world. Like, what will it be about? And I always knew that I wanted to talk about family, and because I felt like these were dynamics that I could really write without feeling like I have to go to a place that's not truthful. But then the environmental disaster in Lebanon, the environmental disaster was very much tied to a corruption scheme, and so I just felt like somehow the family plot and garbage plot really came together to talk about just our struggle as Lebanese people living in a place that we love so much, that but that we feel like we have no agency over, and that everything functions in a way that is so corrupt, and we become corrupt in an environment like this. So these were the themes I wanted to explore. And Cyril's documentary that you mentioned, Dancing on the Edge of a Volcano, is a documentary that ended up, by pure coincidence, being about the making of Costa Brava, because Cyril's camera, after the August 4th explosion, landed on all the people around him, and some of these people were the film crew trying to make the film. And so the film somehow became about a film crew in the aftermath of the August 4th explosion, trying to just keep their dreams from falling apart. And obviously, I wasn't really looking at Cyril around this time. I was so much in my head. As a director, you're so obsessed about the film you're making, that's all you can see. And also, as a person who has just um, survived that whole moment in Lebanon, we were all, not me, just the whole team was dealing with the PTSD. And so we weren't really looking at Cyril, and he's such a discreet person. Like, we weren't really aware that he was there. So watching the movie a year later was a bizarre, strange experience, because
Wow.
I looked at it and I thought, what was wrong with us? Why didn't we just go home and sleep for a month?
Well, if you did that, there might have not have been a film, right?
No, they wouldn't have. But maybe, I don't know. Yeah, maybe in the future, like yeah, it's all about, like, yeah, that's another topic that should be discussed in therapy, not in a podcast. But
Oh.
yeah, how long do you need after an event to
Mm,
be able to get back on your feet? And I think for a lot of Lebanese people, the taking care of themselves happened in those moments, whereas for our crew, we took care of ourselves while making the film. But then it's months later that we kind of realized what had happened to us, and that's interesting. It's like it was like a patch in a way, making the film.
right. When in the documentary they mentioned that having that film put you in a bit of like a bubble, an escape, you can say,
Yeah.
from the reality. And the film itself is also like an escape. They try to escape from Beirut. They go to the mountains,
Yes.
trying to make your own little paradise, world.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, it's being aware that um the bubble, like the walls that you built around you, are like, you define you, really, your relationship to the world. And in Costa Brava, I think what seems like this, like, perfect self-sustainable paradise is also in a deeper way an escape that is not always healthy, because how can you not be part of a society you want to change? You need to, or at least for the mother's character, that's what she thinks. She thinks, well, how can we change that world that we criticize if we're not trying to change it from within? And the father thinks, well, I've lost hope in the people governing us. I'd rather save my skin and create that little paradise here and live self-sustainably and teach my daughters that. So that the conflict between the two is that question, really.
Do you think, like, obviously those are like very stark personalities? You know, you have this the cynical one and the very hopeful one. Um, for you, when you watch these two, like the dynamics between these two characters, which one do you yourself like lean more to, or
Mm.
like, you see yourself being?
Well, I am a person who likes to find, um, like, create beauty wherever I am, or and that sometimes being a person who wants to always try to create beauty and magic is great, but sometimes you can fall into creating that at the expense of looking at the darkness right where it is. And sometimes I think it's important to not run away from things and find that right balance between looking at the bull's eye, and looking at the
Yeah.
pain, and therefore earning that magic. So I think going between the two. I think I think there's a moment in which you have a responsibility as a citizen. If you want to change the world you live in, then you need to somehow be part of it, and then you can be better part of it if you give yourselves, if you have the privilege to give yourself time away and time to go inward. And as well, like I think I'm always going to be somewhere in between the two. um I'll always want to, try to contribute to change as much as I can, but I'll also need moments of solitude so I can be a better contribution,
Mm,
because I've
Mhm.
throughout the years I've become a bit more of a, like, my battery needs to be recharged. If I want to be a better person to the people around me, I need to have a bit of time with myself so that I have something to bring and not just exhaustion.
Right. And I've seen in like a previous interview where you've talked about like burnout. Does this also is this also like the type of burnout that you've experienced where you're trying to create beautiful things and you're trying to be great to people, and then at some point it's just the battery is just being
Yeah.
overextended.
Definitely. I had a burnout last year, like a mini burnout, I would say. And
Mhm.
it was a real wake up call for me, because I, I realized that, yes, there is this passion for what you do. I had no choice, because saying yes to a certain project that I'm working on right now meant overlapping with House of Guinness.
mm,
And so,
Yeah.
therefore, like, it was one of those impossible decisions where I was like, I know it's going to exhaust me, but if I don't do that, then I have to say no to a project that is really special. And so
Mhm.
I made myself a promise of, like, okay, you're gonna be burnt out for 2 months and then it's gonna calm down. And it is what happened. But yeah, I think, how can you write about life if you're not really spending time living it? And I think, how can you be, like, it's like this thing on the airplane. It's like you have to put your oxygen mask first before you
mm-hmm,
can help others. So it's just like realizing, like, what's the balance between being a person who likes to give and also giving yourself a little bit. And
Mhm.
I'm aware that, I'm in a privileged position to say that some people don't cannot give themselves because they're in conditions that can't. But if I can, then I should, because I feel like a lot of the people that I admire and filmmakers I admire are people who really give themselves the time to be in the present before going and giving. And I find
Mhm.
that, as a person who sometimes can stretch myself too thin, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to just do less things and more fully.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say to that, like art is an imitation of life. So if your life is so chaotic and hectic, and that's gonna reflect onto your art,
Yeah.
and
No,
so you want to have that focus and peace of mind and joy and that kind of passion and power for that to reflect in your artwork as well too. You can't be making things if you're, you know, so
definitely.
dizzy and confused and fatigued. And wanted to ask you a bit more about Costa Brava again, about the family here. Do you want to tell us a bit more? What are the similarities between this family and your family growing up? You have a lot of artists in your family too. So,
Yes.
how did that affect your upbringing?
Um, I'm at my father's house, so I'm just making sure he's not hearing.
Alan.
Well, my father is a great storyteller, and he's a man who's kept, like Walid, this, like, inner child. He's a guy who, like, here, this, he's obsessed with Tintin, for example. Tintin.
Oh.
Emilu. Wow.
Basically, I think my father knows how to bring poetry to the
Mm-hmm.
everyday. He's an architect, he's a builder, he's a guy who's kept his childlike energy, but also has a lot of wisdom, and but also the impulse of reactivity in the context of, when you live in a country like Lebanon, yes, you get used to chaos, but also you're on the edge as well. I think what my father has in common with the father is just this creating a paradise inside a home, and the warmth and the storytelling and the um, constant games that make the reality more playful. he also had like I also he was like me and him had a similar a relationship than Reem and him, in a sense that
Hmm.
I was his little best friend. You know, I used to call, like, everyone used to call me Mowgli because I was like Mowgli from Jungle Book, and I used to felt like I was always in trees and all. Like him and I were like real best friends, and I would like really he was my best friends, and we would both fear each other and respect each other in really nice ways. I think my mom has this like mystery and tenderness that the mother has, and this like real art, like artistic, tender, motherly soul. And she was a person that always wanted to um, give me space to be who I was without giving me any limits. My sister and I had the same age gap as Reem and Tala. So in a way, if
Wow.
I'm Reem, my sister is Tala, and
Hmm.
um, we're very close. But there was a moment when I was, let's say, 10 and she was 15, where, or maybe 12 and 17, where I was still a kid and she was entering adolescence.
Hmm.
And there was a moment in which, for a short period of time, I felt like I lost my sister. And I was really interested in talking about that moment. And my co writer, Clara Roquette, had a similar gap with her sister, but she was the older one. We really wanted to talk about that moment in Sisterhood where you think that you lost your sister because she's entering another chapter of life, and you're trying to run and catch her because you feel left out. And we really love the idea of having the movie be set in that period in which they have to choose a parent because they don't belong in the same moment in their lives, and talk about that moment. So, but I will say that there's a little bit, it's like in dreams, when every person in a dream of yours is a version of you. I think every single person in this film, I am in each of them, and a lot of people I know are scattered around all these characters. I am not any of them. I'm all of them. But yeah, I did have like I have a lot of things in common with Reem, but also with all the others. You know.
Wow.
And
And go side.
I just want to ask if that also applies to House of Guinness, or
Uh, in a funny way, yes. It's I do this thing when I read a project that I'm pitching for or that is being sent to me, where I try to think like, how can that be? How can I find myself in that? Because I think the more I can do that, the more I feel like my work will be better. Because when I'm emotionally invested in a character, I feel I can tell their story better through the camera. And in House of Guinness, of course, it hasn't. I mean, I wasn't. I'm not a person from the 1800s, and I'm not a brewer, and I'm not Irish. But
no?
there's so much in common between Lebanon and Ireland. So I mean, we know that the history of
Hmm.
anti-colonialism, and they know what it's like to fight against,
Yeah.
oppressive energies, but or people or entities. But what I really actually, beyond those things that we spoke about, I think I I found myself really interested in a lot of the conflicts that some characters were going through. Sometimes, I think that the relationship between Olivia and Arthur, so Arthur, the gay character who marries Olivia,
Hmm.
there's something so interesting and modern in that relationship. Those two people who, in a way, decide to create a marriage that is a bit unusual, and that are not in love in a traditional heteronormative way, but still have possessivity over each other, or like the whole conversation around what is love between these two, I thought was really interesting. I think also between Edward and Ellen, the choosing to not be with the person you love because they don't belong in your world, and also just the relationship of those kids together, those kids that have inherited a thing that is too big for them, and that they have to kind of like come of age really quickly and figure out who they are as people because they've lost their parental figures. All of these are themes that I find really interesting. A coming of age story comes in so many shapes and forms, and for them it's when their parents die and they have to build a world and decide, who am I in this family? I find that really interesting.
Hmm. Ali, if you wanted to continue, I didn't want to interrupt it.
Oh, I was gonna ask and pivot a bit about your uncle Walid Al, the famous pianist, and do you have any stories with him? And did you learn anything from him and his genius?
Oh, thank you so much for asking. Well, that's one of his pianos here,
Wow,
and
Oh,
on
nice.
it the
that's
spaceship
crazy.
of Tintin.
Yeah.
um, yeah, Walid is a man that I really like loved for the, I don't know, the few years that I knew him. He was this like very very charismatic figure in our family because he was traveling a lot, and everyone used to tell me, oh, you're the daughter of Walid Ael. And like I knew from strangers how inspiring he was to people. And I knew from my father how inspiring he was as a brother, because Walid had a passion that took over him from a very very young age. And he also had incredible discipline. He used to, at the age of 10, like work on his like piano lessons all day,
Wow.
all day. And his teacher at some point told my grandfather, I can't do anything for him anymore, he needs to go to France to the conservatoire. He's really really talented. And from that moment on, he was my uncle, the pianist, who traveled the world. And when he came to Lebanon and hung out with us, and of course slept at our house and all of that, I remember that when Walid came, that meant I can sleep later, because he would tell my father, Munya doesn't need to go sleep now, she can stay like later. He was like synonymous with like breaking the rules, and just he almost felt like not a real person, because he was just so charming, and everything he said felt really interesting to me. And I thought it was because I was a child, and he was just I just loved listening to him playing. It just felt out of this world. But growing up and having people talk to me about him, I realized it's not just that like because I was a child. He actually was a really fascinating people for a lot of other people. And so when he died, it I felt like because of his music, this man is going to stay much longer. Because if I felt like after he died, I connected even stronger with him, because I discovered his music then. And I started really researching him just to extend his life. And thankfully, because of his body of work, he never died for me in a way.
Wow. That's one of the things as an artist, right? You're kind of immortalized by your work, and decades after you're gone, people are going to be able to watch your work too, and you live on through your art too.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing that way.
And actually, Walid loved film.
Mm-hmm.
He All of the family videos that my father has are all filmed by Walid. He had a Super 8, and he had a dark room in his bathroom. I mean, the family bathroom that he turned into a dark room. And and there's so many videos of my sister as a baby, where you can hear Walid behind the camera giving directions. He was so
Mm-hmm.
so so that's, I just thought about this now. Yeah.
um,
Sounds like
you
a
know,
very creative and like interesting person to be around all this time.
mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing like he definitely inspired you to like kind of follow your own path and then just start your own legend in a sense.
Yeah, actually, he yes, he did, but he was dead when that happened. Because I was very, very, I was, I think, 9 or something when he died, or maybe 7. But when I was in architecture school, it's thinking about him that gave me the courage to tell my father, like, I think I want to just try this. And my father told me, I'll support you, but just finish your architecture studies. And that meant, from the moment I felt I really knew I wanted to leave architecture, I had to wait 2 years before actually leaving it, because I had done 3 already, and I needed a diploma. And I think my father wanted me to learn this lesson of, just finish what you started so you can start something else more
Mm-hmm.
properly.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's part of also the discipline that your uncle had, and he was like trying to share that lesson with you. Finish what you
Yes.
started and don't give up.
Yes.
And there's so many people out there that are, let's say, haters or trying to push you down or saying that you can't be a filmmaker in Lebanon, or you can't be a pianist in Lebanon, or you can't be a filmmaker as a woman too, or you can't, all these things that is in a society in Lebanon, or they're trying to push you down or trying to pivot you to be an engineer or a doctor because that's the more stable,
Yeah.
path in life. And no one ever tells you to, as they say, dream big, really put your all into everything and find out who you really are and express yourself to your fullest ability and live your life to the best you can.
Yeah.
um I see the world as uh like a rock, and we're like the sculptors trying to shape our own universe with it. I guess you can say, in an architectural perspective, it's like a game of Sims, and you're creating your own Sims characters,
Yeah.
building your own
Definitely.
universe from nothing. No one told you to make Costa Brava. No one told you to go out and create things, but you created it out of nothing. You brought people
Yeah,
together.
but also I think I would never have been able to have an idea and turn it into a film if I wasn't surrounded by so many incredible people that are that film crew. That's the beauty about film. Like my
Mm-hmm.
producer Miriam, Cecile, and then Georges. Like without them having faith in the script and making it happen, it would have just been a script in a drawer. And without your best friends like Cyril or even
Mm-hmm.
Clara, my co-writer, I wouldn't have had so much excitement to, I think so many people you need to surround a filmmaker so that the idea can actually arrive to its destination. And I was so lucky with the team that I had, whereas was Joe Saad, my cinematographer, who I could just close my eyes and imagine something and he would imagine the same thing. Like these are very rare connections that make you feel like, oh, okay, that dream maybe is a reality that can happen. And that doesn't happen all the time. With Costa Brava, I think it happened. All of us were like holding on to each other, like wanting to tell the story, and it takes a lot to for that to happen. It's not enough to just have a dream, sadly.
And like speaking of connections, like
Fair.
how what are like signs that you look for when you're interacting with someone or getting to know someone that make you think like, okay, I can work with this person and we're on the same wavelength, we'll have the same ideas, and you know this we should be in the same team.
um there's always a gut feeling in the beginning, but then it gets reinforced or not with doing a first experience together,
Okay.
because you get to see how people react in certain situations. And I feel like, for example, Joe and I, my first meeting with him, we both kind of like felt like, oh yeah, she's really smart, he's really smart, uh, but we didn't feel a lot of warmth. But then because another cinematographer couldn't make it because of a visa situation, Joe ended up doing Submarine, and I was like, oh my god, I almost missed out on finding my creative soulmate because of a bad first impression of like, oh, he's too like, and so uh, and we're doing Submarine with him, confirmed to me that I found something really special. And same with Cyril, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's spending time with a person. Of course, in the beginning, you're drawn to someone, and usually what draws me to someone is like their passion, their warmth as a person, their generosity, you know, um, their ability to really listen and not be full of themselves, and just feeling like I want to have a conversation with them and they're fun to be around with, and I can learn something from them and vice versa. And then over time you see if that is also, discipline is so important in someone. You want to know that a person you're working with is reliable
Yep.
and can deliver, so that you also want to deliver as well. And then when you work with a person, then you're like, often I work with someone, I'm like, okay, they're really talented, but I don't see them as someone that I want part of my family forever. Maybe because we I don't feel like we're made of the same things. But like, I think you spend a lot of time with someone in pre-production that you get to know if they're going to be part of your film family or not. And for me, it's really people who just love what they do and have discipline and are just generous and treat everyone with respect and don't think they're above other people. And then, yeah, and that they're that's what matters really. Sometimes you can, you can find someone who's extremely talented, but they're just like assholes, and I'm like, no thanks. Like, I can find someone else. Like, there's a lot of talented people who aren't cunts. Sorry, maybe not that.
It's
Bleep.
I
fine.
said too much
It's
stuff.
fine.
Yeah.
I think
Spend
I
a lot
think
of.
you might be spending a bit too much time with the Irish, but it's fine.
I know. I'll repeat it for you. I think there's enough talented people out there that you don't need to work with people that are not nice people.
Well said.
It's all good. Like, the swing is fine. We're okay with it. Plus, we love
um,
the Irish, so it's all good.
I want to ask you a bit about like what were the films when you were younger that inspired you to become a filmmaker?
There's a lot of films that I love that I've been, in the last couple of months, shared on certain podcasts. But I feel like, um, well, obviously there's a lot of amazing films. So I just feel like the films that usually make me excited about filmmaking are films that do something that feels new.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like recently I watched Billion, which I thought was so great because you know eh, yeah, for many reasons I just felt like it was reinventing things and messing with my expectations and making me feel many different emotions. And I don't like when a film just is forced to impose just one thing. I think a movie can do many things and make you experience a lot of different things, and that's one of the recent ones that made me feel that. Obviously, like growing up, there's a lot of films that I found myself moved by, but they come from a lot of different directions. Of course, there's, when you're a teenager and you discover the French New Wave, there's something really exciting about it, about the freedom of it, the messiness of it, uh, the playfulness of it, and just characters who are a bit clueless about where they're going in life, and making you feel a bit like, okay, like you can definitely be soul searching and be confused, and that is part of your journey as a person. Then there's also like the great westerns that excited me because of their magnitude and their like the feeling that they were about the world, when it was often, it's just the excitement of that. I Then I had other phases where I became interested in movies that showed the darkness of humankind and how that cannot exist without the light, and vice versa. That was, Bergman, Bellatar, and all these people. There was always a phase of that. And then there's other things that I really like learned a lot from, like My Best Friend's Wedding or Notting Hill, where you
Mm-hmm.
have a great rom-com that is about a character that is really making wrong decisions, and you're rooting for her because she's all of us. And I think there's something quite brave in rom-coms, is that they really show characters not doing the right thing, and that
Mm-hmm.
excites me, whether it's in a Bergman film or in a a great rom-com.
It's funny.
I also,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, pardon.
No, I'm just a comment. I know you commented on a lot of films, but rom coms usually there's some of the worst people and like the people you would never want to date, and they're just also self centered and they're so rude, and always the whole arc is like they find love and then they end up becoming nice people towards the end of the movie, but it had to take a lot of work for them to get there.
Yeah, in My Best Friend's Wedding, what she learns in a way is that she's a bit of a narcissist and that she should let go sometimes. And I feel like the arc in that film is quite realistic, and
Mm-hmm.
it's quite painful in the end, because she ends up with a man who is gay, who's her best friend, and alone at the wedding of the man she tried to steal. And she's not in the end making out and kissing the Prince Charming. She actually has learned something about herself and has let go. And I find that quite a realistic ending that makes you smile, but is also a little sad. Hello, sorry, there's a big
Who's
dog here.
joining us? Hey, puppy. Alan Yawawi.
Hello.
Hey, big
Not a
boy.
puppy, he's huge.
What's your doggo's
What's his name?
name?
My dad called him Oscar for a reason that I don't understand.
Wow. Okay. The
Hey,
Oscar goes
Oscar.
to. Hey.
Okay, never mind. Stop.
I'm gonna ask you about Caramel. Let's
Yes,
jump
yes.
right into it. I have
Hey,
a bunch of
stop.
movies here stacked. But yeah, tell us a bit more about what was it like to work with Nadine Lebekit, to learn from her, to she's so inspiring too, right? For all the filmmakers out there from Lebanon. I mean, she was one of the first. I mean, there's been many that did indie films, but she was one of the first, especially women, to break out and make something so true and raw to her life. And she's definitely in this movie. She's not a perfect character either. She's very a jerk, you can say, and trying to steal someone else's husband. But you know, it's a it feels so real to be there with her, and it's so fun and lively, and it's something you've never seen before. She created something different.
No, definitely. And there's a lot of incredible, female directors like Randa Shahal and all these amazing women who kind of like made films at a moment where, we really had no industry. And, and,
Mm-hmm.
and I found myself going back to those films, even Maroon Baghdadi and those people
Mm-hmm.
at a later time in my life where I was an adult. And now that I am a filmmaker, I have so much admiration for what these people did, and there's so much gold in watching, films that have been made um, during this period of time. And Nadine, I think what I loved the most about working with her was, I think as a director, and I understand that now because I've just acted in a movie and I experienced that. As a director, she enjoys the temporary escape from being the person answering all the questions and letting yourself go to someone else's direction of you. And I think when Nadine felt connected to the story and the character, she told me that she really wanted to just, you know, let herself be directed by me, and that was really exciting for me because of course I love her as a woman. I love her mind, and I love her creative pull, and she's such an inspiring like person in that way, like she's a well of like wanting to tell stories and creating magic in her
Mm-hmm.
environment at home, etc. And so we got excited about being, two women directors working with each other, but one of them giving the other the opportunity for a new experience and vice versa. And that's how it felt working with her. It felt like constant conversation from the moment she read the script to the moment she got on set. We're constantly exchanging voice notes, WhatsApps. Like she would send me, oh, I feel like she would do this or she would do that. And like I would add that in the script, and then I would send her. I would constantly be sending her thoughts about Suraya, and she would constantly be sending me thoughts. So it was a really open dialogue where in the prep, the script character became a mix of Munya, Nadine, and the character on paper. And on set I really felt like inspired by her, and you really want to love who you're looking at. So when you're inspired by the person that is in front of the lens, they feel that love, and it's a flow. So it just felt so easy working with her. Like it was so easy to tell her what I wanted, and it was so nice to see the different options that she would interpret a direction into. It was nice to see her evolve into Suraya really on screen, and she was just a fun person to be around, and we really care about each other deeply now, and yeah, I it's yeah, she definitely has a big spot in my heart right now, and I look forward to just doing something else together one day. We don't know what, I don't know what, but I know that our journey together is one that is not like limited to this project.
Mm-hmm. And she's also really a hard worker too. I mean, she was directing for Home probably in the
No,
prep
don't
while
bite. Why are you biting me?
Oscar.
Sorry.
Rushway.
I- Here, go get this.
Give him a
Sorry.
toy.
Do you see him? I don't know because it's
No,
vertical,
you're
so I don't.
okay. No, no,
No,
Oh,
you're. It's horizontal. It's gonna be horizontal. Yes, we see him, but you're all good though.
oh, you see him.
Yes, it's horizontal. Yes, you're all good.
it's okay.
Hey,
He's the
puppy.
fourth member. He's the fourth guest.
Oh no, I don't mind if you see him.
What are your thoughts on French New Wave, puppy? Let's see. It's like, oh.
I think he loves it.
Yes. yeah, so we were talking about Nadine Lebeke. Like she was in the preps for Kfar Nahum while we're working on your movie. She also starred in Back to Alexandria too, all in the span of like a year or two, and that's all like a lot of hard work, you know, to do back to back to back. And she's working on other projects, and I mean, like, I'm so impressed with how she's able to manage all the things all at once and to handle that stress and working on like Kfar Nahum, which is a magical movie too, and like that I know took a lot of effort from her to make it a reality. And
Yeah, I
um
think she has the right balance of passion and discipline and just empathy. Um, and I think this is probably why she's able to. But also, I think when she did Costa Brava, it was during the pandemic as well. So she wasn't traveling. And so I could actually, I had her really in real, we were all really like, in a way, stuck together because of,
quarantined. Yeah,
yeah, and
quarantine.
that helps. That really helps.
Uh-huh. So I
I
wanted to.
wouldn't like if it wasn't for COVID, I would have wanted for the whole family to live together for a month before and for all of to I would have done things in a less rushed way, the way I usually work. But because of the pandemic, I had to make some creative sacrifices, when it comes to the process of making something, which now for the second film I won't make because I did it once. I don't want to do it a second time with the same sacrifices.
Mhm. So how were you then able to create those relationships and moments with the actors between each other? Like without that kind of, because we know the lead male actor came in like super last minute too, and they were still meeting each other and also acting as a family together. And um, yeah, did it follow the script more closely, or were you guys like finding it intuitively in rehearsal?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I'm very intuitive when it comes to those things, especially if I have kids, because I understood with the twins who share the role of
Mm-hmm.
Reem.
Wow.
They were like fire in a way, and
Mm-hmm.
trying to contain that fire would mean losing the authenticity of what they can provide as people, actors. And so I adapted in a way my method of working to each person I was working with. And when the kids were acting, I would tell them I would, of course, tell them they knew what the scene was about and they had the script memorized, but I would just tell them, just stick to the intention and what you want from the other person in that scene. And gold would come out when I would give her this freedom. I will always give the freedom to all the actors to say that, but when you're convinced of a script, then you don't need to improvise unless you're trying something new. I One of the things that we did that helped a lot is I knew that by the time we would get to the last week of the shoot, everyone would have gotten quite close to each other. So the opening family scene, which is all of them having dinner around the table, I shot it on the last week of the shoot. So
Mm.
they were already quite comfortable around each other. So I knew I would put that scene in the beginning of the film and it would help the audience see that, familiarity quite early on. Um, I also spent a lot of time with the kids. A lot of the time I had during prep, I would spend with Nadine in her garden or with the kids in my house or in their house. I do a lot of activities with the twins. We would go have ice cream together. What I really wanted was for everyone to feel really comfortable with me first by just spending moments of life with them. Once that trust was built between us, then I started having the twins gather with the teenage girl and then Nadine hang out with the girl. And suddenly I tried to create moments with everyone together as much as possible. And I carved those moments as much as I could um, throughout the prep and then even during the shoot.
Were there like certain topics maybe you and the actors like you chose to have these kind of discussions, certain topics, or between the actors themselves, so that they can kind of like break the ice, connect with each other, build some sort of relationship before they start acting in the movie itself?
Yes, You mean how? What are the things that I would do? Those
Yeah,
ice.
like are there specific topics to they would discuss?
Yeah, I would. For example, we spoke a lot about what the story, the script meant to each of them.
Okay.
I wanted to know. Sorry, I he.
Does
It's
Oscar
just
have any questions
it's
himself?
just the time in the day where he wants to play, and he's huge, so he thinks, no, I can't. Ziad, Ziad.
Dwayne? Oh my gosh. If they had Dwayne is right, then I have a question for
No, okay,
him.
okay. Listen, Hayete, please stop. Okay, okay, okay. I'm just gonna let him do his thing.
Yeah,
Okay,
all
so
good. And if you need a minute too to we can take a pause too if you
no,
need.
no,
Oscar, down. I don't know. Stop
no.
it. Oh, he's getting aggressive now.
Okay, okay, good boy. Khalas, yeah. Okay, so
All good.
basically,
Yes.
what was I saying? The icebreaker. Yeah, basically, I sat a lot with the kids, and each of them, it was about, okay, what do you like about the character that you're playing? What are the similarities you have with them? What
Yeah.
would you have done in this situation? So there were a lot of conversations about understanding the intentions of the characters that they were playing and discussing the psychology of those characters. Or, for example, you know, Tala has a everyone in the film has a huge scar, that as a result of the explosion. So we spoke about their experience on the day of the explosion. What was, because obviously one of the main reasons why I wanted to tell the story was about this relationship with Lebanon, and I wanted everyone to
Mm-hmm.
feel like it was about their relationship to Lebanon as well. So I had a lot of conversations with each of them about what that meant, and the more we spoke, the more I took a lot of the things they were saying and incorporated them into the script if it matched with the general intention. And with the kids, for example, they had never acted before. They didn't know what acting was. So my job was to get them to ignore the whole filmmaking element of it, the camera, the I didn't want them to have any sort of self-consciousness when it came to that. So I spent a lot of time alone with them, just doing exercises about, like, for example, um, okay, this is your sister. She wants to leave Lebanon. Here's the scene. She wants to leave Lebanon. You want her to stay. You have just one objective in the scene. Try to
Mm-hmm.
convince her. Now that you know the story of the characters, try to convince her to stay in your own words. And when that comes after talking about the backstory to these kids, then so much gold would come out of those rehearsals because she only had one objective and one action, which is make her sister stay. And it was really nice to see what different tactics the actresses would come up with. And it was really inspiring to me because I realized that kids are such great actors because they have no inhibitions and they're real listeners,
Yeah.
whatever. And the best actors are the best listeners. And I think whenever the twins were acting, the other actors were shining even more because every take was a complete surprise.
So,
Wow.
speaking of like kids being great listeners, for adults, for them to be great listeners, should they also like keep some of that childhood innocence?
Yes, of course. I think we all struggle sometimes with just, the more you grow, the more you get hurt, the more or the more you do projects, the more you have certain ticks or certain, like, things that you can't break free from. And I
Yeah.
find that the best actors are the ones that are just not narcissistic, and they're focused on listening to the other person in front of them and reacting to that.
Hmm.
And and there's an acting, directing actors class I took in film school that I learned a lot from, where it was about directing your actor, and of course not giving result directions like be sad or be thing or be that, or not over directing, but reminding the actor that they want something from the other person in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
So, try to, let's say the scene is two people, arguing. And instead of telling like a person, just, be angrier when you're yelling at him or whatever, that's giving him exactly how you want him to do it. So you're reducing his creative freedom.
Hmm.
and giving a result that might not give you what you want. So instead you can say you want to make the other person feel really bad, then
Yeah.
you get surprised because you get what you want, the objective, but you get different ways that come from that person's energy. And I find that it's really nice to remind an actor of how he wants to make the other person in that
Mhm.
place feel.
I don't want to put
Um,
you on the spot, but do you think you could help me and Ali maybe improvise something
yes,
like that?
I was on the exact same wavelength with you. Said,
Yeah.
I have a scenario if
Okay, go
you're
for it.
ready.
Yeah. What's the scenario?
Bro, I told you that the files are corrupted right now. This podcast is gonna take forever to upload. I like the audio was broken, the video is broken, and I'm sorry, it's gonna take some time for it to upload, maybe a couple months even.
Okay, I understand that, but Ali, we set a deadline, and based on ChatGPT, it says that uh, like a simple editing of a video should not take more than 3+ months. So maybe
Bro,
I'm
what?
not.
I'm not ChatGPT, bro. I'm a real man trying to make art, bro. I'm trying to make cinema. I'm not trying to do ChatGPT, bro. You're AI slop, bro. I'm actually putting time and effort into this project, bro. You should be thanking me, bro, for putting all this time and effort into this. Instead, you put ChatGPT, bro. There you go. I don't know. There.
You don't need me. That felt very authentic.
That,
Looks like there's a lot of backstory there.
why do you chose this? Why do you choose that scenario?
End scene. No, it's funny because it's true. It's yeah. You know how it is. Corrupted files, trying to recover them.
Oh no.
Good scene.
I thought,
So just like that is what you're trying to say. Like we have opposing ends trying to find the truth of the situation. That'd be a great script. Pitch it to Cyril and Munia. That'd be awesome. The corrupted
Yeah,
files.
like what's a great scene? Like, a great scene is when you have two characters who want opposite things. That's when
Yeah.
you get conflict.
mm,
I want to ask you a bit about
Like
my.
now, the dog wants to play and I
Yeah.
don't. So there's conflict. He got
there you
me
go.
this.
Ian. Okay.
Quick aside about Mike Lee, independent
Mike
British.
Lee.
Yes, filmmaker. You're familiar with his
Yeah,
work?
no, I know who
Okay.
he is, but what does that have to do with us?
Just that
Can't
process
wait to
because he kind of innovated that kind of rehearsal with actors trying to find truth of the project. I mean, he came in without any scripts or just
Yeah.
like bullet points and just actors bashing it out and inventing scenes and um you know finding the truth. That's why his films are so raw and real. And I don't know, did that inspire you at all? I know you also work in England too, so.
Yeah, I honestly, I think there are many different ways to get to the truth. I don't think there's one process. Like the same way, I don't think a long take is
Mhm.
gives more sense of truth than editing. I think um, there's so many ways to access the truth, but it's true that Mike Lee's method gives a feeling like everyone is kind of like bathing in the world in a
Mhm.
way, and that can be a really exciting experience. Like if I were to, let's say, um work with people who aren't actors, then definitely I would be more inclined to creating certain methods that create that truthful lie better. But of course, an actor is an actor. They're here to do their job the same way I do my job, and you don't need to do all of that for them. Like like on Responder, for example, I worked with someone who I had admired for a long time, Martin Freeman. And
Mhm.
Martin Freeman, he's on his way from London to Liverpool. He sends you a voice note when he's still in London in his British accent. He gets to Liverpool, the voice note is now with the Liverpool accent. And out of it in such a quick way and in such an inspiring way. Like he's just so serious about getting into the zone, but not in a way that is like, oh, I'm method and I'm going to be an asshole to everyone on set. No, he's just doing that between him and himself when he's getting into the scene, and he's has enough experience that he does it in a way that is quite seamless and doesn't require a lot of fuss around it. So there's a lot of different ways to do it, and I think as long as you're close to the truth, and your relationship to the character is truthful, then it doesn't yeah, it doesn't need to be a certain way or another, you know.
Um,
Um,
Saeed,
I
you had
wanted
an
to talk a bit about Boiling Point and like what are the
Yeah,
challenges of working on a movie where it's just like it's one take the whole time. It's just you're constantly following this one camera basically because that's a
I
different.
didn't. Boiling Point, I didn't do the movie. Phil Barentini did the movie. So
Oh, all
Boiling
right.
Point Boiling Point was a movie that was shot in all one take, and then it was so successful that they commissioned Phil Barentini and Hannah Walters and Stephen Graham to turn it into a TV show. And Phil wanted to direct the first two and wanted another film director to do the last two episodes, and that's when I came on board. And it was the first TV project I've done. And Phil Barentini and this team are the people who did Adolescence. They're people who
Mm-hmm.
come from the film world, who have also excelled in the TV world by bringing a
Mhm.
filmic element to it. And I was really blessed and lucky and to have worked with them. But Boiling Point, the TV show, was not shot in a long take. So it was a great experience, and but it wasn't a long take
So
experience.
were
Sorry,
you
Saeed.
transitioning into? I mean, that's my mistake. I'll take that.
No,
Were you
no.
transitioning into TV from like because this is your first time? What were the challenges there then? What did you think was switching from movies to TV shows?
Well, when my agent called me to tell me that there's an interesting TV show, I was like, but I don't want to do TV. And she said, yes, but the reason I'm sharing that with you is because it's the people from the movie Boiling Point, and they're not like TV people. So they actually want to create an environment that feels very much like an independent film. And
Yeah,
they want to turn this into four episodes, and each episode focuses on one character. So of course I read it, and I really really loved what I read, and I especially two of the characters that I felt really connected to. And yeah, my first meeting with Phil Barentini and Stephen Graham and Hannah Walters and the and Hester, um, it was just like I really loved them right away. I thought they were so passionate, so exciting, so raw. Stephen Graham, who's again an actor I admire so much,
yeah,
um, and he's the more he does things, the more he surprises you with his talent. And I he said such nice things about Costa Brava and the performances in it, and it felt really nice to me to feel like my Lebanese world was connecting to my outside of Lebanon world in a way that it's
Mhm.
actually Costa Brava that made these people interested in working with me. And it's
Wow.
like they were seeing me and my who I am and where I come from, and that's what interested them. And that felt really special to me because of my relationship to home. But making this with them, I mean, I kind of went in knowing what to expect. Like I was following like a film that already was there. There was
Yeah.
another director that had created a certain language that I can work within, which was the coldness of the kitchen and the warmth of the restaurant, the messiness and the chaos of the kitchen versus the perfectly clean like frames of the high-end restaurant industry. And like how that door between the kitchen and the restaurant separates the real from the fake in a way.
Yeah,
And
there's a big
that
contrast between those two
exactly.
areas.
So and when I was told that this was the main rule, I was like, yeah, I could definitely work with that, and I love that vision, like that I know, like it's big enough that I can create something personal within it. And Phil was just so amazing with me. Like him and I kept saying how directors never get to work together really, and him and I really really loved each other, and so working together was just a lot of fun. And his cinematographer Matt, who now I just shot a TV show with, also amazing person. So yeah, I mean the challenge was to make something that needs to belong to a bigger world. But
Hmm.
I always do that when I do something. There's like a set of rules, in Submarine, for example, there was only
Mm-hmm.
one moment where a camera was going to go handheld, and I knew when that moment was,
Mm.
and it
Yeah.
had to break from another language. So just felt like as long as you're creatively aligned with the rules of the show, then it doesn't feel like you're making a sacrifice. But I've said no to projects where I felt that when I met with the other director, I thought, yeah, you and I are not creatively aligned, so it will just be frustrating for me to work on this, and it's better for you to be with someone who is has the same taste as you.
Of course, I mean, you do definitely need to have someone, you know, mentally aligned with you on the project, because
Yes.
in the end, you guys are a team and you're working on
Yes.
one thing together. And for it to work, it can't have two different visions. So
Yes.
that's
Exactly.
it makes sense why directors usually work solo, because it's easier that way. So
Of course.
for you doing both, you've done solo directing and also co-directing. What How would you describe the two? Like what are the differences? What's something that you which one do you like more as well?
um I untied my hair so you don't have a continuity problem.
Okay.
We'll have to do another take.
Okay, yeah, you can start again.
Oh, good. I'm just kidding.
Uh, so, yeah, the director thing. Which one do you lean more to? Which one do you prefer? And what are the differences between solo and co-directing?
Oh, on House of Guinness and Boiling Point, I wasn't co-directing. I was basically on Boiling Point. He was doing episodes 1 and 2, and I was doing 3 and 4. I felt I had full creative freedom to do what I wanted as long as we were all faithful to the world we were creating together.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
that was fine for me because the environment was one of creative freedom, and everyone had hired me because they wanted what I had to offer. And I had said that I was happy with that, those rules that we set together. And then he just kept welcoming me into this rule book, and so we created this. It just felt like we're doing something together, and I felt like my episodes were mine, the same way his episodes were his. And same thing with House of Guinness, there is this Bible that's the world of the show, but as you can see in episode 6, 7, 8, it's quite different,
yeah,
but still part of the same world. So I really felt like, because I got along with Tom Shankland, I was able to feel like I'm doing what I want without people coming to me and being like, okay, you're doing a completely different show. No, like
Hmm.
I was able, but I think it was easy because I said yes to a project because of the collaborators working on this project. I said no to a couple of projects where I knew that I wouldn't feel like I would have any creative joy because I would have to follow something that I don't like. So it's really about, because I come from film directing from the independent world, my
hmm,
authorship and creative freedom is the most important thing for me. So when I say yes to a TV project, I do it when I feel like they want me for what I have to offer. And
okay,
if not, they should go for someone who has something that has to offer that they want. And so it's about making sure that you say yes to a team as well, not just a script. And on House of Guinness, the people at Netflix, the producers at Kudos, the other director, the creative team, I mean, I was so lucky and blessed to be working in that environment because I never felt like I'm working for a commissioner or for a streamer. I always felt like it was a human relationship. And Mona and Henrietta from Netflix just made me feel like
One big
hey Oscar,
family.
welcome back.
I mean, you just want to talk instead.
Hola, pero.
Um, he's never been like that. I think he just doesn't understand why I'm ignoring him. Um, and I really felt working with them that I just was giving an amazing playground. And we would always talk as a team, like when the structure of the feedback sessions was, I do the cut I'm proud of, and then we show the execs, and then we show Netflix and Stephen Knight. And the process was so good that I felt like by the time I was showing them a cut, I was really happy with that cut. And the feedback was more like, do we think it's clear enough, this thing or that thing? Like we were together. I never felt like people cut my creative wings or anything like that. But when I tell this to some of my friends who work in TV, I'm aware that I locked out. And I'm it doesn't mean that I haven't had bad moments in working in TV where I felt a little bit limited creatively, and like I didn't agree with something, but I felt like it was better for the show. But I try to navigate my way in a way that is like, what does the story need? Like I
Mm.
always am I need to be faithful to the story, whatever I do, whether it's Costa Brava or House of Guinness. What do these characters need? You know?
And just to pivot, but I wanted to ask about the character of Lebanon. Lebanon's such a big character in your movies, and then A Sad and Beautiful World too, which we need to talk about as well too before we wrap
Yes.
up today.
Yep.
Tell us, how do you work with Lebanon? What does Lebanon mean to you? How do you put it as a character in your movies?
Uh, I mean, it is a character, I guess, without me trying, because of, when you come from a place and it's part of you, it's much easier to write it because the research element isn't there. It's just part of you.
I'm researching every day.
Um, yeah, so I think if I'm writing a film set in Lebanon, the same way if you're writing something set in another place, like that place is the place in which your characters exist, and so telling the story of that place is, you know I can't imagine it not being that. I think a character is a product of a place, and therefore the character of Lebanon is always there because, it is the nest of the story. Costa Brava wouldn't happen in London, unless, of course everyone has something to escape, but the specificity of Costa Brava is that they are from that specific society.
And is Costa
Maybe in East
Brava
London, like Far East London, somewhere like that. I don't
is
know.
is Costa Brava made for Lebanese, or is it made for people learning about Lebanon who don't know anything about Lebanon?
I mean, I don't know how to think about who I'm making something for when I'm writing something.
Hmm.
I just try to focus on transposing like certain ideas into a script, and I never think about who the audience will be. I think if I would, it would just corrupt the process for me.
Hmm. I will say from my experience, I've watched this film with my American friends who don't know much about Lebanon, and they love it and connect with it too. And they like learn so much about Lebanon just from this film and this family.
Oh,
And I will say
that's
the
really
Lebanese
nice.
friends, my Lebanese friends too, they connect with it in a different way. I watched it with Saeed too, and for us, it's really personal. The idea of like the thawra, the protests happening, and how that ties to them escaping, and this
Yeah,
concept of if you want something, you have to fight for it
yeah,
for a better
and I
future.
guess that is what I was told. Like, obviously, what was interesting about, 1 second, sorry.
All good.
What was Betikshi show?
We can pause this for a second.
Oh my God, Shuhaida!
It's a bit poo poo.
Do you
No,
think
no,
you could have done?
enjoy the pillow. Oh my God, what did
This
you do?
blooper reel right here. It's like at the end of the Jackie
Want to
Chan
see
movie.
what he's been doing to
Show
punish me
us.
for being on a podcast?
Oh no. Yeah, the
Ah,
oh.
not the pillow.
You are
Okay,
insane.
guys. We need to send up a GoFundMe. Replace the pillow.
Oh, but he's so cute.
Aw. I'm so
Anyway,
sorry. He just wants to play. He just wants to play, and he's like, "Why aren't you playing right now? Why are you talking
I'm,
to your computer? What's happening?"
hella, hella, I'll make him play once we're done.
Is everything okay? Just a few more minutes,
No,
to
no, no
wrap
rush.
up.
I mean, I can't do anything. It's just a pillow.
So
So
sorry.
basically, when I traveled with, sorry for this pause. When I
All
traveled
good.
with Costa Brava, I realized that every single country I visited was connecting to the film for different reasons, and that was really interesting for me because I understood, how much because it can be exhausting traveling with a movie, but the beauty of it and the magic of it is you understand how magical it is to meet your audience and to see them interpret your film and make it theirs.
Hmm.
And that's the beauty of storytelling, like, and since the beginning of times. And I felt like, for example, in America, they were really feeling connected to this uh, dissociation from a reality that feels a bit absurd when it comes to the ecological disaster, to governments that feel they don't represent you. And whereas in France, there was another, like, every different environment that the movie was screened in had a different reaction to what they thought the allegory was or the reality was.
Hmm.
And that was really nice for me to have this creative conversation with the audience in that way.
Yes. Just comment on the environment. I mean, we're all so young. We all resonate with this because it's our future. It's our life. Like, we don't want to grow up in a world that's full of trash, and we don't want our kids to grow up in a world that's polluted, the water, the air, walking around. I mean, in Lebanon, it's kind of a disaster too. It's like there's trash everywhere, and you see kids throwing trash on top of the trash that's on the street, and for them, like, it's like, oh, there's already trash there, might as well throw in more trash. What's the difference? What difference am I gonna make? And it just
Yeah, but in
feels
Lebanon, it's
hopeless.
but also the problem is that big corporations make you feel, or big or corrupt environments make you think that you are responsible for that, whereas it is a thing. It's not because you don't recycle that the world's falling apart. It's because of uh you know
Yes.
the corporation.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, well, we don't need to repeat what we
No,
know,
because
so
I agree with this, because like big corporations are the ones who've told us that recycling, that
yeah.
it's our carbon footprint is the issue, and it's just so that they can shift accountability from themselves
Yeah,
to
exactly.
the individual. But in
Exactly.
reality, if you stop their pollution, the global warming will reverse much faster. But people believe it's like, oh no, it's our fault. Yes, let's take the blame. Hey, not روق شوي. Calm down. It's not your fault. There's bigger players at play, and they're the ones who are fucking it up. But
We're being gaslit a bit. Yeah.
100%, yes. The best people at gaslighting are the ones who are running these corporations. It's like, sorry, sorry, Cyril, but كمان consulting firms are like some of the best at working. Alhamdulillah, he left. Alhamdulillah, he left that industry. I believe he made the right choice. And good on him. Sorry, bit
um,
of a rant. Allah طلع
Cyril told us that took some time for you to get on board with a sad and beautiful world, to act in
Mm.
it as the main character. What a amazing performance! Like, you and the whole cast did, putting it together. Wow, like, what a masterpiece of cinema, honestly. Like,
Oh, I love this film so much, and I love Cyril, and I love that he made a Lebanese rom com, and that I was part of it. Of course, I was scared at first. Um, when I say yes to something, I really clear time for it, and whether it's physical time or mental time and dedication. And I knew that if I was going to say yes, it was going to be a really beautiful experience. Um, but I was just really scared to try something that isn't what I am. I'm not an actor, I'm a director. And
Mm.
I knew that I would, of course, be completely open to being directed by him, and to not, to just let go of control and just give myself to another person's vision. And that I was excited about. However, I was scared to not do a good job because it isn't what I'm trained in. And when Cyril told me that he was writing thinking of me, of course it made me feel a bit like, okay, then it might be a little easier for me, because I'm interested in acting. But I think acting is also, you need to work, you need to practice, you need to take classes, or you need to um work with a director who knows how to bring that out in you, because I also work a lot with not non-professional actors.
mhm.
So Cyril told me that that was what he wanted to, that he was excited at the idea of having a mix of professional actors and non-professional actors, and that he thought that me and the character were really close in the way we spoke, and that he thought that I would find myself in her. I read the script, I of course fell in love with her, But I told him, listen, let's just take a bit of time where you see other people, and I spent a bit of time with the script. And if you're convinced that you haven't found a person that is like, oh my god, it's her, then let's talk again. I want you to make sure that you've explored all options before coming back to me. And then we both came back to each other feeling like we really wanted to do this together. And honestly, it ended up being a very cathartic experience for me to be able to be on someone else's set and just play without, being the director who has to take all of the decisions, be able to feel emotions that I repress as a director because I want to care for people, being able to feel through her, being able to tell a story in a different way by being a woman in front of the camera. It was really like, it took me out of my comfort zone, terrified me, scared me, but also I came out really, I've grown a lot through this experience, even as a
Wow.
director.
Alhamdulillah, you said yes because like, well, holy shit, your natural talent at being an actress is great, and
I
it,
mean, of course,
and
when I watch it, like, I don't feel that way when I watch it. Sometimes I watch and I'm like, oh my God, I wish he had cast someone else. But then other moments I felt like, yeah, I can believe it. And I think this is just me because I think ultimately he did an incredible job with the actors because he created a safe space for them to just be the best versions of themselves. And I
Mhm.
couldn't have hoped for a better first feature role opportunity than to be directed by my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
It,
And
it's very suitable, yeah. Because like also the movie was, yani, for us, uh, it was an emotional roller coaster. I remember
yeah.
we
Wow.
told Cyril about it, even and when the movie finished, me and Ali just like stayed quiet on the call for like 5 minutes straight. Didn't know what to say. We were just like was speechless. At some point, Ali was just like, "Wow," and then I'm like, "Bro, what the fuck just happened?" You know, like like
Very nice.
no, Anjad, it was really good. Definitely much deeper than any Western rom com I will ever watch in my life. So, um, as uh, emotionally, it was just like very powerful. I would say very powerful.
Yes,
Very
Reed is so good at creating emotion, Sometimes I feel like I, as a director, run away from it. It's like, no, this is too obnoxious. I shouldn't show emotion. I should have the camera. And Sirid is just much braver in creating emotion. And I watched this film and I felt so many things. And that's why we watch films, to feel things and
Mm-hmm.
to feel people. And
yeah,
yeah, it's a very special film, I think, and I'm really proud to have been part of it.
100%. I mean, yeah, you were a very important role in that movie, and the dynamic that you had with the lead, um, uh,
Hassan.
Hassan, yeah, was like a very, you know, it was an interesting dynamic to see because like it's definitely a relationship I've seen in real life, where just like opposites somehow, end up being together. And you know how the typical relationships they would say is like, oh, you have to have like common ground, and you have to have things in common, blah blah blah, or like similar personalities or whatever. This was, two people from like two different backgrounds who were completely separated, from a young age, and then somehow just found themselves like right in front of each other. And they have, to be honest, when I watch them, I don't think they have anything in common, but somehow it just naturally forms into something that is actually better than most relationships from what I've seen.
Yeah, and of course she has a lot of judgment as at first, the character I play, Yasmina, because she thinks there's this mentality also of like, he's not the standard that my parents would want for me or
Yeah,
whatever, or he doesn't have the same type of ambition as I do, or he doesn't take life very seriously, he's just a goofball or whatever. But all of these, like, are anxieties and fears that she has because she's scared of love. She's scared
yeah,
of, like, even if she had like someone in front of her that checked all the boxes, she would find another excuse, because she is a character that prefers avoiding any feeling than knowing she can get hurt. And what this guy offers her is this, like, just jump because you're gonna get hurt anyway. So you might as well feel things on the way, and you're more alive when you feel things. It's like that Khalil Gibran thing on love,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, you need to explore all the seasons to be alive. And the storm is part of life. And I think she's a person who's a bit more cynical, and therefore she creates distance with people so that they don't get too close, and he just like opens her up, and it's like, listen, we're gonna get hurt, and we'll get hurt together, and I'll hold you and you'll hold me. And yeah, and that's what seduces her. Because a lot of people ask me, like, why do you think she chose him? Because it's not so obvious at first. And for me, that's the answer. I think he's the only one who had the courage to tell her, you're a fucking idiot.
So,
Wow.
speaking of this, fear of love, this might be a personal question, but for you, do you also have a fear for love, or is it the opposite?
Um, Yeah, I think I do, though people don't know that about me. This is what's interesting about Yasmina, is that people see me as this, like, really smiley, bubbly, nurturing person, which I am. But I, like everyone, have questions and fears and melancholy inside of me. And I think Yasmina, those fears and those anxieties are all outside. So I could externalize my own through her. I love love, of course, but it takes me time to really like jump into love. When I jump, then I'm loyal all the way and I'm really open, but it takes me a lot to choose to jump, because it's like I'm standing at the top of a cliff and I'm like, oh, I don't know, I don't know. Once I do, but I stay on top of that cliff for a lot of time at first, I think.
Fair. No, that's very fair. I mean,
What
for
about you? I'm going to ask you questions.
oh
Yes,
shit.
please. We're raining. Sounds
um,
good.
I would say, as of the past couple of years, yes, I've taken, because I used to be I used to rush into relationships in the past, because for me it was just, I was kind of like the Hassan character, just like yalla, no problem, I will love مدري شو، بزت حب وين ما كان.
High five, yalla.
And then I started learning that other people aren't like that. I'm like, okay, maybe I should take it down a notch, slow it down, just to see how the other person thinks. I don't want to scare them or anything. Uh, it's not me necessarily being afraid of it. It's more of like me not wanting to scare people away. Because I think, for if a man is a bit too loving, they might think that he wants something or is trying to, you know, be hurtful or whatever. And I
Yeah,
understand these thoughts, but
yeah.
so that's why it's like, okay, gotta be a bit more cautious. Let's tone it down. Ali, what about you?
Wow. Oh, thanks for asking, Saeed. Um, no, just I'm in a very happy relationship with my partner, Mary. We've been together for 5, 6 years now, and yeah, what I'll say about it is that I don't know. I think I'm very happy to be in love, and very happy to have passion in my life too. And I love how you, Munya, mentioned earlier that you're finding love with a person is similar to finding love with passion in life, and that it's very rare. Not everyone has it too, but when you do have it, you want to preserve it and take care of it, and because it is special. And that's how I feel. And personally, like, it is, a bit scary doing something you've never done before and to jump into that unknown. But and part of the process for me has been, I've been loving myself more through the love of this other person. And learning, I've been much more brave and bold, and like proud of myself too, because of this relationship. And yeah, I wish more love for everyone around the world. We all would benefit and become better people if we had it. I would say
I
my
agree.
comment on that. Thank
I
you.
think that it looks like you're in a very nurturing relationship, and that is really important.
Thank you. Appreciate
Peace
it.
is important in a relationship.
Well,
Peace is an important one. Yes, I didn't want to.
peace, yeah, instead of war. Yeah, it's because you see some relationships where people are battling it out, and it's like, you know, you don't want to be in that kind of relationship. That's for sure. You have to make sure picking your right partner is very similar to picking a career, in that it's like you're a match for a long time, and you want to make sure that you make
Yeah,
the right choices.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions for us, Munya, before we pivot to the last section? Oh, good.
Sorry, I was here. No, no, sorry. One. Yeah.
And then, well, I'd love to meet Ziad one day. Be epic.
What's the topics? Delivery.
What's the toters? Ah, bro. طلب طاووق. You ever seen this film, Saeed? Paradise Now? This is like totally up your alley.
No, but
Maybe
I
one day
should watch
watch
it.
it. Yes, all good.
Ali's like my personal letterbox.
That's hilarious. Okay, sounds good. Okay, you're all good. Well, this film it's Palestinian, and these two guys, it's like a dramatic story of like these two guys,
I'm so
they're
sorry.
fighting. Oh,
Sorry, guys.
you're all good?
Yeah, 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 sorry. It's chaos because he ate my father's sandwiches, and my father and my
Bro,
father kept coming telling me, and I was like, I'm in the middle of an interview. He's like, he ate my sandwiches. I'm like, I'm in the middle of an interview, but he ate my sandwiches.
hey, what was the sandwich? Was it like
I
Peru or
told him
something?
I'll check in a minute.
Chicken limit.
Well,
I don't know why, but I have a feeling
Let
it's
us
like
know.
turkey and cheese or something.
I blame you for this dog going mad today. But what was the question?
Oh,
The question
Mike.
is, do you have any questions for us?
Yes, before we have one last section we want to do with you, but before that, any other questions since you already asked us one?
You were asking me if I have a question.
Yes, all good.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
No, I don't have, but I want to know what's this last section. Is that a
Okay.
game or something?
Yes, a little. It's a
Oh.
little bit of a game right here.
Yes.
Let me share with you. Share screen right here. So I'm working on
It's
my movie list of 2022-5. So I want to ask you a bit about if you've seen any of these movies, just quick thoughts on any of them. This should be a pretty quick last section over here.
Quick fire.
Yes, quick fire here. So these are some of I'm still a working list of the best movies of 2025. From my point of view, there's still a lot more to add.
Wow, we're next
Just-
to one battle.
Yeah, so obviously it's my subjective personal opinion, and it's not whatever, but yeah, so many great films came out this year, and I don't know what are you, if you've seen any of these movies, and what are your thoughts on any of them, and what would you put in your favorites of 2025? Help me work on my list a bit too. Am I
So
missing anything?
I really loved the movie Billion. I really
Alright.
loved Palestine 36. Of course, One Battle After Another is an incredible film, and watching Paul Thomas Anderson just tell stories is just a gift for all of us. I haven't seen yet Marty Supreme, though I've heard nice things. K-pop Demon Hunters, I haven't seen. I don't think. Utopia, I love. Can you scroll down?
Yes, I'll keep scrolling down. I'm not, these are not the final ones just yet, but still working.
Sorry, Baby broke my heart.
Yes.
Absolutely loved Sorry, Baby. Can you scroll down?
Yeah, I'll keep scrolling down to see what if you've seen any of these other ones.
No Other Choice is beautiful.
Right.
I'm skipping the ones that I didn't feel were for me.
Yeah, that's fine.
I love the Secret Agent one. Hamnet, I think I'm yet to see, but I love the book so much that I'm always scared of watching a film after I'm too in love with the book. But I can't wait.
Scrolling School done.
Sentimental value, I can't wait to see. Actually, Oslo, August 31st, is one of my favorite films ever, and it's
Okay.
by Joachim Trier. I really, really love The Mastermind. I love Die My Love because of the great filmmaking. Sound of Falling was a whole out of body experience for me. I loved it. I have not seen a lot of those here. I haven't seen yet Nouvelle Vague and Blue Moon, um, but I'm curious too.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, great films this year, and The Voice of Hind Rajab for me is the top one this year. I mean, what a great masterpiece of cinema, and one battle after another, and then Sad a Beautiful World. Dude. What a great way to top off 2025. Saeed, into 2026. Anything else before we wrap up here today?
No, but God bless Lebanon. Yalla.
God bless Lebanon.
Of course.
What's next for you, Manya?
Right now I mean, I just directed all 6 episodes of a show with A24 called
Wow.
It Gets Worse, written by Leo Reich, and I'm in the editing process of this film and of this show, sorry, and
Yeah.
it's a comedy set in modern day London. It's the exact opposite world as the world of House of Guinness. Uh, of period in terms of character. So it's yeah, I feel like I've time traveled, and it's been like a lot of fun editing this project. So, and the team, some of the people in the team are really special people. So yeah, I'm just editing this and developing my feature film, as you said in the beginning, Hold Me If You Want, which is my second feature film. And yeah, we'll see what else comes my my way, but
God damn, Oscar, man. Just like gotta chill.
Okay. Well, thank you for
I'll
watching.
repeat.
Go for it. Go for it. You
Basic
can finish the
Thank you
end.
for watching the Oscar show. No, basically I'm editing this new TV show with A24, and then I'm writing my film, and I'm meeting people for potential projects, but nothing serious yet.
Nice. So,
All right.
looking forward to check out the new show when it comes out, and
Yes, thank
keep working
you.
on that movie. Can't wait to see the next one. Appreciate your time,
Thank you.
Manya.
I appreciate you both. Thank you for the lovely conversation.
Thank you. Guys, thank you for watching another episode of A2 the Show, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace. We're out.
Bye.